Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. Got a story here that will be of interest to the Welsh viewers I have. Welcome. That's only because it's particularly to do with the Senate in Cardiff. But the principles, I think, here deserve a wider airing. And I think what underlies what we're about to talk about is something that should be brought in, not only in Wales, but Northern Ireland, Scotland, England, at all levels, councils, town councils, county councils, assemblies, and governments. And I think it's such a good idea, but the politicians won't go for it because if they did, none of them would have a seat. Now, there was an advisory panel to the Senate that says we ought to make it a criminal offence for a politician to lie. So you can lie in politics, and if you lie in politics, it becomes a criminal offence. You lose your seat, and you can be prosecuted. Sounds good to me, doesn't it? It stops the likes of Keir Starmer saying, "Oh, we're going to do this," and then doing the complete opposite. I'm just outright lying. I don't know what a woman is. Lies. You know he's lying. He knows full well what a woman is. All these things. All politicians would be forced to tell the truth. Can you imagine the chaos as they run around like headless chickens going, I don't know what to say. If I tell the truth, I'm destroyed. If I lie, I go to jail. Because they're all creepy, horrible, dirty, disgusting, corrupt tossers. Anyway, they've had a little talk about this, have all the politicians in the Senate, and they've all said, no, it's a terrible idea. No, we're rejecting that. Only with a Welsh accent, obviously. I'm not even going to attempt it because my Welsh accent is terrible. But they committed to introduce this legislation, which would ban members of the Welsh Senate from deliberately deceiving each other, the Senate, or the public when they speak. They've committed to it. And there we go. So they've got that commitment, and that's excellent. But a commitment is easy. We're committed to doing this. Oh, and are you actually going to do it? They've decided no. Whilst they're committed to the principle, they're not wedded entirely to the idea of actually doing it. The Standards Committee, which the government asked to look into this matter, concluded that lying on purpose should not be criminalised because otherwise they would all lose their jobs. Plaid Cymru leader Adam Price put forward his party's motion in July last year, arguing that trust in politicians had fallen to an all-time low. That's because they keep lying. But before it went to a vote, the Welsh Government then Council General Mick Anthony, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, it's Antoniw. So please, if you are Welsh, can comment on my pronunciation. I think it's Anthony, but it may well not be. Said that the government was committed to the principle, as I say, and said it would introduce legislation ahead of the next Senate election in 2026. And concerns were then raised by members on the impact of such proposals on parliamentary privilege. The report comes after the committee suggested that it would be introducing a mechanism to unseat members of the Senate found to have breached the Code of Conduct. The Code of Conduct does include lying. But what they're doing is they're saying that lying is not going to be a criminal offence. Now, I'm going to put my hand up and say, I think it should. We should make this a criminal offence across the whole of government, local, national, regional, the local assemblies, regional assemblies and that sort of thing, everywhere. Anyone who's got a job into which they have been voted must sign the declaration and say that if they lie, it is a criminal offence, and they immediately lose their seat and they have to resign it with immediate effect before prosecution begins. And then watch as the colour drains from their faces. I think this is something we need to have. I think Reform, if they are quick off the mark on this, should bring this in. They have no secrets. Well, they probably have got secrets, but the point is they haven't got a long, sullied history going back years and years and years of secrets. This is something they could bring in and watch as the opposition shit themselves, quite literally. Can you imagine the police turning up at number 10, number 11, the Home Office, the Foreign Office, every office of state, and arresting the ministers and the junior ministers and MPs and backbenchers, all of them having then to have a by-election, all of them having to face the possibility of a court trial because none of them can ever afford to tell the truth. It's a reach. It's never going to happen. There's no way politicians will do this because, they say lying is an important part of their job. Yeah, and that's the problem. Let's not lie. Let us decide this. Let there be a referendum on this. This is a fundamental change. This deserves a referendum. Let me know what you think. Thanks a lot.